Hi guys, your favorite T1D right here, Tini. We are going to do an interview today with two great ladies, that is Sylvia and Paulette. So keep it locked. If you have any questions, write to us, DM us, and if you want to be part of these interviews, just DM us and we will get back to you. Cheers.
My name is Sylvia Njuki. I'm 35 years old. I'm a wife. I'm a mother of two, a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. I'm a counseling psychologist, and I was born and bred in Mombasa, but yes, we moved it to Nairobi sometime when I was a teenager. And I've been a type 1 diabetic for 17 years and going strong. We had relocated. I schooled at Pangani Girls. So I was diagnosed when I was 18 years in June 2003. I remember very well after second term, around June, when we had come back before the August holidays, the time before our midterm, I started feeling thirsty. Of course, the normal symptoms you get before the diagnosis, being lethargic, frequent urination, extreme thirst. And I started feeling, okay, what could this be all about? So I thought it was the pressure of the exams, but of course we had learnt about diabetes, but I hadn't thought about it so much that it could be diabetes. I had never heard of it actually in our family. No one has had diabetes. So it was really, I thought, okay, maybe I'm reading too much. That's why I'm getting thirsty too much. That's why I'm eating a lot. But again, what was worrying was the sudden weight loss. I lost a lot of weight all of a sudden. But the good thing is, after those symptoms, it was just a month of the symptoms, and we were going off for our midterm holidays. So my mother came to pick me, because you wouldn't go home by yourselves. You had to be picked by a registered guardian. So when she came, she just looked at me and asked me, Sylvia, are you okay? But before going home, I told her I need to go use the washroom. So when I reached home, just sitting down, I told her I need tea with a lot of sugar. I'm thirsty, and I'm hungry. Well, and then I was tired, so she made the tea for me. I drank, and then at night, I think I had like 5 visits to the washroom. In the morning, she was like, that is not normal, we are going to see the doctor. So we used to live around Pangani. So the school was in Pangani. I think you know where Pangani Girls is? Yes. And we used to live behind the school, not very far from the school. So we went there was a nearby clinic there, Amari Stops Clinic. We went and we were seen. There was a clinical officer. So my mother, I guess my mother knew, okay, my mother is a teacher, so she knew about the symptoms of diabetes. I think for her already, she had thought, this must be diabetes. So, because she told me, inakaa kama ugonjwa ya sukari, but let's just go. So when the doctor tested, he just told me, my dear, I'm sorry, your pancreas have refused. Well, at that time, of course, I didn't know much about it, and I can't remember. It's been 17 years. I can't even remember the figure on the glucometer. And then since I didn't know, so the numbers didn't really matter to me at that time. So he was like, this is an emergency. We need to refer her. She needs to go and be seen by a specialist. My dad was outside town at that time. So my mom talked to him, and he made some few calls, and so we were connected to a diabetologist at that time. He was based at Kenyatta, but he also has a clinic at the Doctor's Plaza. So we went, saw him, and of course, I was not yet on DKA. I was not, but I was heading there. So I was admitted at Nairobi Equator Hospital. I still can't remember what the figures were, but I was admitted for 3 days. And of course, after the 3 days, we were supposed to go back to school, but of course I couldn't. So I had to stay home for another 1 week. I was discharged after 3 days, after given the normal education, psychoeducation you're given. This is, of course, it wasn't sufficient. It was a bit scary. That the first thing you're being told is that from now on, no sugar. Makiwa, I'm 18 years old. I'm really waiting to just finish high school, or just to be done with high school, go do my things. And you're telling me I won't be taking sodas, I'll be going out, I won't be taking ice cream. It was quite traumatizing, and I really felt, I felt like I stopped living then and then. And I started thinking as in, and then, you know, now after the diagnosis, you still crave, because you see now you've not learned how to manage the sugars well, so you still crave for sugary things, and then now you're told no sugar. So it was quite difficult. But again, something else, after the diagnosis, and then after now, before going to school, I had to go back and see the diabetologist. So my mother was of the opinion that I become a day scholar, so that at least they'd be able to monitor me. So the doctor wrote a letter. He was like, yeah, of course it's true. She would need a lot of support at this time, and family would be the greatest support for her. So before we reported to school, actually, so I tested my sugars, and they were around 15, 16. We had not, okay, of course we had sent a report to school that I was unwell, I had been admitted and all that, the details. So when we went, the principal was waiting for us. The amazing thing is she really understood. She was a type 2, so she actually knew at that time the school was not really in a position to offer the support that I needed in terms of keeping the insulin, my meal times and all that. So she was very supportive. She was like, it's fine. She can be coming in the morning and going back home in the evening. She can carry her own food, carry her snacks. She was really, really supportive, and that really helped me. Yeah, my classmates were also supportive. I think I received support from every corner. I didn't feel like, of course, there are times I felt different, but the fact that a national exam was coming up in November, I guess I didn't have, with time, I came to realize I didn't have time to process the diagnosis then. Yeah, so I processed it much later in life, but for that time, I just kept it at the back of my mind and just focused on now the exams that were coming up. Well, I think I stated I received a lot of support from my family, immediate family. So my family at that time, they all stopped eating sugar. All of a sudden, they all decided they're not going to tempt me. So usually people say, and then I told you my mom was a teacher. My dad also worked in the police. So they were quite exposed people. So they and one of my sisters is a doctor. So the support, I mean, she really educated us a lot. She told us, especially for type 1, it's not really related to family history and all that. So it's quite normal, even for a young person to get diabetes. And then we started eating we changed because we didn't want to have 2 pots. And I think they didn't want me to feel, yes, an outsider, left out. Yeah, so my brothers, I have 3 younger brothers behind me. So we all used to drink tea without sugar. People say eating brown rice, brown chapatis. Of course, okay, you know, it's not very tasty. But my mom also is a health, can I say, fanatic. She's always, you know, the food has to be balanced, and if you given a choice, your food will be steamed or boiled. Even fish, she can boil it. As in, for her, she's pro-health, that is pro-eating healthy. So it wasn't a major shift or a major change. It's just that I used to feel they're all doing this for me. I mean, I used to feel, why am I letting them experience or feel this sacrifice for me? But they never made it, as in, they never showed me that it's a struggle. Yeah, we stopped buying sodas or ice creams in the house. So it was pretty easy for me to adjust. Yes, I had such challenges, of course. Yeah, I would lie if I say I was never tempted. I remember there's a time in the house we cooked mahamris, and of course I knew I wouldn't be allowed to eat those mahamris. They were going to be for breakfast. So I just woke up in the morning, and then I had not taken something sweet for so long. I took one. I took another one, and another in the morning. Of course, my sugars were all my 30s. But the thing is, at 18 years, I was a teenager at that time, and you know, teenagers are prone to some acting out. I can't really say it's a rebellious behavior, but just some sort of acting out. And many times, of course, I'd want to take a sweet here, not even a sweet, because one sweet may not be sufficient to raise your blood sugars dangerously. But I would really want to take chips, the sugars that, as in the foods that are not very healthy for me. I would once in a while, not every day, not all the time, but times would be there that I would, of course, eat wrongly. Yeah. Yeah, so after Form 4, of course, I didn't get the marks that I had anticipated I would get. I had hoped to get an A. You see this 844 system where you are instigated that you need to get this grades, do this course. Yeah, so I had really dreamed of being a lawyer. But of course, I didn't qualify for it. I remember first when I was doing my maths paper, there's a point I couldn't move. My head was not thinking, I was sweating. So I just wanted to give the paper, I go to the canteen and eat. And of course I didn't finish. It was my lowest grade. Because I experienced typo. That was maths and physics. So that of course brought my grade down. So I opted to do psychology. I did counseling psychology at UON. And I also was staying home. So I used to commute to class and coming back home. So that worked pretty well for me. My diagnosis or my journey, I've never really kept it to myself that I'm diabetic. So I think everybody, whoever knows me knows I'm diabetic. So during my campus life, everyone knew, all my friends, they knew I'm diabetic. Before I go to class, I make sure, of course, going to class is the walking bit, that was part of my exercise, and then I make sure I have eaten well before class and before walking back home. So it was pretty, I used to do the activities that would work for me. I think with time, I learned what worked for me. And then after campus, I did psychology, yes, and then I did a few volunteer work here and there. So the volunteer work was those didn't work for me. Things of community-based services, going to the community, it's unpredictable. Today you're in this home, tomorrow you're in another home. You visit the homes, especially in the informal settlements. Okay, it's the time I went to Nyahururu. That was in 2009. I worked in Nyahururu with CBO, local-based organization. So visiting every home, you'd be given something to eat. Of course, I used to tell people I can't eat. And I really wanted to scream and say, my sugars will not allow me to eat. I've already had my snack. I can't eat these washes and tea. And the tea has a lot of sugar. But you see now, this is actually the reason why also I love sharing my stories. Because people don't know much about diabetes. So I would tell my colleagues, I can't eat, but they keep telling me, it's rude to say you can't eat when you're given food in a homestead. These people don't have money. They have sacrificed to give you this as a way of saying thank you, and you're refusing to eat. So I would be forced to accommodate their kindness. I would be forced to eat. You eat kangwashe here, you go to another place, you're given mokimo. Well, within a month, I was in DKA. I had never been in DKA before. So I was so sick, something I had never really experienced. That was in 2011, not 2009, 2011. Because I started nausea. It's the worst feeling ever. I was really sick, but I had a friend whose dad is also a diabetic. So she really saw the signs and she stayed with me. The first day she stayed with me, called my parents. I couldn't even talk. But I remember that night, because at night I couldn't sustain anything. Whatever I would eat, I would vomit. Yeah. And of course I had this fruity breath. I was just tired. I remember I called my mom and told her I'm tired. It was at 10. I just felt I'm slipping away. Just sleepy. You see the way you're just sleep. You can't know yourself. So she told me, just hold on. Hold on, we are coming for you. So that morning, I told this colleague of mine, just take me to any hospital. Just take me. Take me. When we are there, they'll know what to do with me. But again, diabetes management, DKA, it's not something every doctor can deal with. That's something I came to know. So, but I thank God they kept me alive. That's in Nyahururu. That hospital, they didn't have a diabetes specialist. So they had to be talking to my doctor with the instructions and all that. but still I had to be brought back to Nairobi. So of course I had to look for an ICU. All the ICUs were full, but the doctor said it's okay. They found a place for me still at Nairobi Equator. So I was just I was just treated, not in ICU, but I was very critical. I was really sick. But God is amazing. I that night I did very well. I sort of recovered. In the morning the nurses were shocked. They were like, umeamka, unaweza kuongea? So the doctor told me, even my mom of course, and my siblings, people were really crying. I was actually gone. Anyway, that's to tell you how community or the society is not very supportive of diabetes. Not because I mean they mean that, but it's because of ignorance. They don't know, and we have not really done our part to educate them. Higher. So I continue. So of course I couldn't continue staying there. If I needed the money was not a lot, but I needed experience for my line of work. So I came back to Nairobi, left that work, came and did a few more things, and then I got a job at the bank still in 2011. So I became a banker for 6 years, but in 2012 I got married. I met my husband in 2005. No, we met in 2004 after high school. So we were involved in, I'm a Christian, I'm a born again Christian, I love Jesus. So, and I've been, yes, that's something about me, I don't keep it. Yes, everybody knows that. So I was involved in an organization called Life Ministry. It mentors young people and all that. So in 2004 they had, because I cleared in 2003, so that December they had a Leavers Bash, where they brought in these Form 4s they've mentored in different high schools, just to give them a way forward on how we will be spending our time and all that. So in 2004, the whole of 2004, we did a lot of mission work, going to different schools, telling our stories in different ways, how we were able to go through high school and all that. So that's where we met. So we became friends. He used to see how I take care of myself at 10 o'clock. So he was very caring, and he was interested in my life. I saw genuine love from the word go. So we became friends. We started dating in 2005, end of 2005. So we dated all through campus. We're the same campus you're in. Yeah, and then we got married in 2012. So we've had 2 babies with him. He's still my number one cheerleader, my number one friend, my number one. He's the wind beneath my sails. I am who I am. He pushes me to be better, and I can say even managing my sugar as well, it's partly because of his support. He's been incredibly supportive to me. Yeah. So before I go to my kids, I would want to say I've experienced diabetes through different seasons in my life. As a teenager, as a young adult, as a wife, as a single person, as a wife, as a mother, as a pregnant woman. So for me, my pregnancies, I got pregnant in end of 2012. Yeah, end of 2012, because the baby came in 2013. So with the banking work, of course, it was really stressful. I had little time, of course, I had to manage my sugars, do my work, make sure, of course, all these things balance out. So it was pretty it was really hard, and the pregnancy was not easy. So my first baby was born with some complications. He actually came at 36 weeks. It had been scheduled, cesarean that was scheduled at 38, but we didn't get to 38. So at 36 weeks, when I had gone for checkup, I didn't go for checkup. I was not well. So when I went to hospital and they checked me, they felt the baby's in distress. So when he was born, he wasn't breathing well. His lungs were not fully functioned and all that. That's what I was told, and I was told it's because of my condition, diabetes. I remember I really cried. I felt, okay, I'm able to handle this, but why did I have, or why did my child have to suffer because of me? Yeah, so we thank God he came through, he pulled through. He was in ICU for 2 weeks. Yeah, we thank God for the good cover. good medical care is very important, because we realize if he hadn't gotten that, we probably wouldn't be here today. So he was admitted at NICU Aga Khan for quite some time. He was in a ventilator in ICU. NICU is the neonatal intensive care unit. And then another 2 weeks in HDU, but by the time he's coming out, he was fully functional. The lungs were ventilating at 100%, because it was even below 50 at some point at 20%. Yeah, so he recovered. He's fine up to today. He's 100% well, and the support, I would say, we have told him, or I have told him, that I have diabetes. I'm not sure whether he knows what that means, but all that I know sometimes is when my sugars are low, and then you see now at his age, and he's a boy, pretty hyperactive, and then the times that you want just a quiet time, or you feel your sugars are low, and then he keeps asking questions, so I tell him, just keep quiet, let me sort myself out. So now he has come to know, okay, mom, your sugar's low, why don't you want to talk to me, or do you want some sugars? So he knows my bag has sweets, and those sweets are for me. Of course I have to buy many, the particles, because once in a while he takes. But again, he also knows when sometimes he knows mommy needs me to bring sugar to her when mommy is not able to talk very well. Of course I try not to have those very frequently, but he's aware, he knows about my condition. The other baby, the second pregnancy was also quite a journey. That was in 27, no, she was born in 2018, yeah. That was partly 2017, 2018. Yeah, that one I was on bed rest the whole time. So she also came through emergencies, yes, but nothing was wrong. She was perfect all through, very well. So for her, she's 2.5. I don't think she still understands. She doesn't know, but even her, we will tell her. Of course, she will. With time, she will come to know. Yeah. But even the nannies I've had, they've always known. It's not something you can hide. It's like wearing specs. I mean, specs is part of you. I mean, if I remove them, it doesn't mean that, okay, I won't see very well, but it doesn't mean it changes who I am. I can't hide it. This is me. First and foremost is to acknowledge and accept and admit, as in all those feelings are normal. Being fearful, being anxious, those are normal feelings. I can't say the fact that I'm saying all this, it doesn't mean that my life has been perfect. I have had to deal with the fears, but just to change your way of thinking that everybody has their own issues, and just because you had someone, because the stories that are documented are the very sad stories, and the very, being told with diabetes, of course, you can't carry a baby to term. With diabetes, you'll get 101 complications. And those are the stories I had read. I was really looking forward to see someone who's had a successful life, someone who's had children, and I didn't get, during my time, except for 5 years ago. That's why now with technology, things have become, we've become interconnected, and we are able to see so many good stories. So I would say it's okay to be anxious, to be fearful, but it doesn't have to be your story. So long as you control your sugars, and one thing is, controlling sugars is not cheap. It's very expensive, because for you to know how your sugars are, you need to be testing every time, like in a day, a minimum of 3 times a day. And for you to know, for you to have a healthy child, or a smooth pregnancy, for the child to be healthy, that has to be there. You need to have a good doctor, you need to have a good gynecologist, but I don't want to make it look like it's unattainable. It is. Work with what you have. If it's NHIF, work with it, because you can go to the public hospitals. Don't be afraid, don't fear. Have all the questions you have, ask the doctor. Let them feel, okay, let them see that you're disturbing the body, but it's your desire, it's your health. If you want to have a baby, you can have a baby. It's not that you can, it's not a death sentence. So, but again, you really have to take care of your sugars. You have to be disciplined. Diabetes makes you, it just it makes you be very disciplined, whether you like it or not. Of course, to have good control, you have to be disciplined. So if you don't inculcate that discipline in you, then you won't be able to achieve the things that you need to achieve. Yeah. And I've had the same doctor for 17 years. He's still the same, the one who not the one I was diagnosed by a clinical officer, but he referred me to the diabetologist. So he's like a father. He's actually a father. He tells me, you found me in this desk. Okay, now he moved. He's at 40s, but he's still a doctor at Kenyatta. So he's seen me grow. He came to my wedding. He knows my husband. Of course, my parents used to disturb him, as in not disturb him, but they used to be on his case. Every time they hear of something new, they call him. So we really came up, or we developed a very personal relationship. So we do a lot of teleconsulting. I text him anytime, any day, and he answers back. He is able, so I don't need to visit him very oftenly. And even if I'm admitted in another hospital, because now with working, you get covers that he's not been in any of my covers, but I can still see him. He lets me be. I can go to the other hospitals. He tells me the tests that I need to do, and then I go back and see him. So having consistency in the person who sees you is very important for history, because now with your history, you are able to be well taken care of. Being in banking, I know many people think the banking job is all about being a teller or in cash. So I was actually in back office. I used to be in card center. So I used to talk to customers through phone, a lot of phone calls. But again, it was, as you said, sitting a lot. But what I loved most about that work is my schedule was pretty predictable, which is what I love about it's the best thing about managing diabetes, because there's always a snack time. You are assured of your snack time. It will come at 10 o'clock. I have my bread and my slice of bread and a cup of tea. At 12 o'clock, I go for my lunch, as in it's assured at 10 o'clock, at 4 o'clock before I go. So what I used to do is, the head office is still at Riverside Drive. So my husband would drop me at Westlands, and then I walk. It's like a 1.5 kilometer distance. In the morning I would walk, and in the evening I would walk back. I didn't used to be, I used to, not very strenuous walk, because again, you don't want to get to the office sweaty, but that really used to work. I know I didn't think then it worked, but come to think of it now, and I was talking to my doctor, he used to tell me that it has worked for you more than you'd have ever thought. I never added weight. Okay, I've been a very petite girl for the longest time. Okay, I'm mixing up so many things, but yeah, walking in the morning and coming back. Of course, the many times you would pick me, maybe with swollen. Again, also I used to be pregnant or when I feel very tired, but I would really walk. That walking in the morning and in the evening used to help me. So for me, for the many years, I have learned the foods not to eat and the foods to eat. Like, I know there are people who won't take rice. For me, in fact, rice takes my sugars very low. If I don't, because I think it's simple carbohydrates, so it raises it. Okay, of course, the amounts. First to say, I eat everything. For me, I eat everything. It's just the portions. I eat white chapatis, but I don't eat 3 chapatis or 2 chapatis. I eat like half a chapati, or probably a big one, but a full chapati, but a small one. I try it to be brown, but yeah, even white I eat, but I ensure there's vegetables and of course some protein. And then for snacking, I have learned, because with the doctor or the nutritionist, they'll tell you this is a list of the snacks you can snack. But I have come to learn by myself, these are the snacks that work for me, and these are the snacks that don't work for me. I know with just a cup of white tea and 1 slice of bread, that's enough to take me through the night, or that's enough for my 10 o'clock snack. If I ongezea things like yogurt, or like yogurt, okay, during the day it's fine, but at night it will take my sugars high, or nuts, or what, nuts hazitanishibisha, I'll still get lows. So those are the things, the foods to eat and the foods not to eat, that I have learned to do. I have also learned the things to manage myself, like what are they called, some symptoms, how to correct. Okay, that one of course the doctor taught me, but how to correct doses. You see, the fact that someone always tells you ama unasikia the way in groups people ask, oh, I'm feeling weak when I do this, as in the simple questions like should I exercise when my sugars are at this level, or should I go sleep when I'm feeling like this? I have learned when I'm feeling very tired or very lethargic, I just take a minute, or I take 10 to 15 minutes of just time out. I lie down and just, okay, of course you have to put an alarm, but again, right now I'm in a very, what is it called, convenient or very work environment that works for me. I know that this may not be the case for everyone, but I just take some time out just to calm my thoughts and everything. But of course that's all about sugars. About emotions again, I realized, I don't know whether men experience the same, but ladies, we do. We become very, you become very what,
emotional, moody.
Yes, so moody, very moody, extremely moody. Something small just makes you snap. So I realize when I'm at that point, you might even call me, I will not pick the call. Yeah, just to protect myself and also protect our relationship. Yeah. I think the feeling of feeling different, it will always be there. And just to know that for sure you're different, but it doesn't make you any less important or less special. You are different, and it's okay for you to be like that. Don't fear, and don't let diabetes define you. You are you as you. Diabetes, just because you inject yourself, or you have to eat when nobody's eating, or maybe you can't run the 5 laps and you're supposed, maybe you run 2 or 3, the others run 5. So don't let the inhibitions define or make you feel that you are a loser. You're not. Try to get, or try to find out what works best for you and maximize on that. If it's let's say, especially, I know it's very hard, it's hardest when you're in school, because that's the preteen and teenage years. These are very hard seasons, or it's a very tough time, even for the children who are not diabetics. So how much more for you? So what you can do is accept that indeed you cannot do this on your own. You need the support of your parents, you need the support of your teachers, you need the support of your friends. The fact that you keep saying, in fact, it's very courageous of you to disclose your condition and say, by the way, me at 10 o'clock I need to take a snack. It's very, very courageous of you to admit and accept that you're different. If you keep hiding it, you won't be able to manage your sugars well. 2, I know this is the time where you feel your parents are so much into your space, and I also felt like that. But again, it's from a point of love and concern. They love you, they want what is best for you, and it's okay. You will feel it. You will feel, kwa nini mama or dada ananiuliza kama nimekula dawa ama nimejidunga. But it's from a point of love. So just accept. It's okay to feel moody. I know you will experience those emotions. It's okay, it's fine. But at the end of it all, just remember, it's a life you're beginning. There's a lot. And then another thing, just climb one mountain at a time. If you're in Form 1 right now, just know that you're in Form 1. It's okay to just concentrate on being in Form 1. Like I remember, I don't think I dreamt that I will get married and have 2 children. I don't think it was in my mind. I just lived one day at a time, or one mountain at a time. When it was time for me to do exams, I did them and I finished. It was time for me to join college or uni, I did and I finished. I did my degree. When it was time for me to look for a job, I did that, as in one mountain at a time. And then you look back and you're like, wow, I have achieved all this. It's doable and it's achievable. Okay, I'm very passionate about advocacy for diabetes. It's very, very minimal in Kenya. The fact that, again, people are not so much aware about diabetes. I usually say type 1 and type 2, those are 2 different types of diseases in terms of management and care. So type 1, for me, if I was given today a chance, if this was to be shown or to be seen, if someone was sitting here, I would say make diabetes management accessible, free and accessible. Okay, I don't know that it can be free, but it's doable. Like, even if it's free insulin, don't give us insulin that is not able to manage our sugars well, or outdated insulin. Give us good quality insulin that is affordable, that people are able to that people are able to manage their sugars well through this insulin, one. And then two, the strips. People can't afford the strips, and you cannot manage your sugars without the strips. So specialists in diabetes are also not very many, but even if there are many, they're not in the public hospitals, as you have said. So the public hospitals, like for me, I think I just wanted to go and experience it, so I decided to go, because my doctor is also a doctor at Kenyatta. So I told him to open a file, as in he gave me a referral. I did the process of opening the file and all that, and then now I went. The place was full, packed. I was there by 7, and of course I was seen at 11. So the thing is, the process, I mean, if people, it's not the same as when you go to a private hospital. The level, okay, I think they really try. It's not to put them down, but they really try. But what I would say is, let these specialists be accessible, because at the moment they are not accessible, they are not affordable. Because if you go to the private hospitals, you will not pay less than 5,000 per consultation, and you know that with diabetes care, you always have to go for your clinics. So advocacy for me would involve a lot of psychoeducation, having regular teachings on self-care, because you're the best doctor for yourself. If we could have many diabetes educators in the public hospitals, or even ourselves as warriors, to be taught as diabetic educators for our fellow newly diagnosed warriors. But at the moment, I don't see a lot of that. Everybody has their own information. The basic thing of our insulin is storage. People don't know. The basic thing of, even when you go to a hospital and someone measures you, as in the basic diabetes care knowledge is not available. So if that could be made available. Well, diabetes is not a life sentence. I have chosen to speak and just show my face so that people can see diabetes has a face. And this is the face. It's a normal person, an everyday person who walks around the streets with you. We may need a little more care, and it doesn't mean that we are asking for pity, or we are pitiful, or we are being emotional about it. No, it's because our management requires a lot of details and a lot of attention. So when we are asking for time out to take a snack, or we are asking for just a day off to go see the doctor, be supportive. Just extend that hand of support. And I would also say to the warriors, T1 warriors, don't be pitiful about yourself. Don't think just because you've disclosed your condition, you want sympathy. It's more for empathy, as in, be sure of yourself, be confident of yourself. Let people see that you are managing this condition well. You're living with it. It's a condition. Like someone said, it's a lifelong partner. So it has its goods. Okay, I do want to say it has its good sides. It is a lifelong partner. If you don't respect it, if you don't live with it by the rules, of course there'll be many repercussions to it.